Well, folks, good evening. We are excited. We have a great session for you this evening. And and a lot of it is common sense, as you probably will all notice. But um, nevertheless, it's good to revise some of the basics and the approach on, as you know, the topic today is how to onboard a customer to an associate. And for those of you that have been in network marketing for several years or for a period of time, it will make a lot of sense and it might actually just be a revision, but the information shared is really what needs to be approached or covered for you to be able to do the conversion. And always remember as we proceed with the training this evening, it's never about your agenda, and that's what you have to be careful about. It's always to be in a position to understand the position of your customer. And but the key is it's important that they are informed, because if they're not, and this has happened, I know Olga had an experience recently where a customer may turn around, decide to become an associate, and someone else for some reason ended up having that person. Now it's been rectified, but you see, it's really important that there is communication and information and education for people to be aware, but at the same time, you don't want to burn your customers and lose them and try to convert them. So that's the reason why we're having this training here. So,
Yeah, I think we've all been through that.
oh,
The
absolutely,
years.
absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Kathy's going, I've been there.
We all have. So,
Yeah.
Tammy, you're a co-host, so obviously you
Okay.
can start sharing your screen.
Okay, so I'm going to attempt to do this from my Canva.
There is no try.
Alrighty.
Do or do not. Beautiful.
See, I'm getting so good at so many
You're
things.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, everybody can see this?
Okay.
Thumbs up? All good? Full screen? Alrighty. So as you all know, tonight's training is about, and often a lot of our training that we do is it comes from mentorship calls, or often through our 15-minute segments, accountability group, something comes up. So keep feeding us and bringing challenges to us, because that's how we can create the content that you need for you to grow. And of course, if you need it, for sure, anybody else who's growing in their business is going to need it as well. So let's get started. I'm going to let you go ahead, Chris, and share the first couple slides on the compensation plan to have a clear understanding of the pay, because I don't know how often you guys have a look at this part.
Yes. Now, I know that the lines are open, and I really appreciate that your professionalism here, folks, to mute yourselves to minimize the background noise. So I can tell everybody has experience, and that's wonderful. But in the event, let's say we're sharing information in real time, if you post comments, feedback, or if you happen to be on Facebook Live, thank you for joining us. Just one moment here. Forgot to brought these guys on board. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate you. And put your comments, feedback, questions into either the comment section on Facebook Live or here on Zoom if you're joining us. So if you happen to be on Facebook Live, you want to join us on the back end of Zoom, just go to go4diamondtraining.com. Go4diamondtraining.com, and you can join us here live. So I find that when we train and we interact with you, we can provide such a better product because we can tailor what we share exactly in a way that you may need to hear it or may need to understand it. Okay, so don't shy away, and like Eric always says often, what's the expression? Don't be
A tourist.
a tourist. The word didn't want to come to my head. Don't be a tourist. You don't understand the difference, right? A tourist is someone that comes and goes. They don't participate. They just come in, watch, and walk right by, right? So you want to be an active participant. And the more active you are, the better of a product we can deliver for you. Now, back to the comment that Tammy asked me to share here in reference to the business strategy, is to understand that there's three components into our business. There is the residual income aspect. Okay, obviously this comes from sponsoring associates, which has the binary, the rank bonus, and the matching check bonus. This is where the wealth is created. Okay, that's what it is. And this is the reason when you look at the graph, and Tammy, you want to point out on the graph here, when you look at the graph of the green bar, that is the residual income aspect that takes a bit longer to build because you need the foundation. Okay. And when you go to the line underneath that, which is the dotted blue line, this is what we call the bridge income. This is, again, it's someone that is generally an associate. Now, customer can contribute to the volume, no question, but it's really, again, having individuals, associates that are coming on board. And by the way, I just want to confirm, is my microphone okay or is it too loud? Okay, perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Depending on what software I use, I have to adjust my microphone and want to make sure. Thank you, guys. So when it comes to the bridge income, this is exactly what it stands for, bridge, right? Bridge is basically a design that gaps 2 points of reference to be able to cross one from one to the other. So what's happening here is this is the early stage that an associate, especially someone who's getting started, this is the very first thing that they will receive as a form of payment, which is the faster commission when someone enrolls and gets a pact of some kind. And also there is the prime bonus pool and other things that are going on. As you know, now we have promotions. We'll talk about this at the end of the call that you can take advantage of for the month of March. So this is, again, geared towards building the business. In other words, associates based. The last one underneath, Tammy, if you don't mind putting your cursor around that, this purple line, which is the customer income. Now, I don't want you to look at the customer income that I'm trying to look down at it, because the customers are super, super, super important. Because for me, that's my entry point for especially doing business online with strangers that have absolutely no idea. They don't know you from Adam. They just don't know anything. And obviously the trust is not there. I mean, they may like you, they may know you from communicating, but they don't really, the connection is short. So often the customers will be the first stage when you're dealing with that. And I think a lot of us doing business in social media and everything else, yes, it's very possible that someone may choose to enroll on their own. And that happens, especially if they know you for years. For example, I know Marcus is here today. Marcus knew Tammy and I from, 10, 11 years ago. So when he decided to become a customer and he enrolled himself, that's because he knew of us for all these years. Make a long story short. So that happens too. But generally, when you don't know the people, there is a period of time that you need to build that rapport. So that's why the customer income is important. Well, let me rephrase that. The customer process is important. But if you look at the customer income and you look at the bar from the little arrow, the little purple arrow down to the bottom bar, when you look at the time, you can see that the gap is quite small compared to the bridge income and, of course, compared to the residual income. So customers are wonderful and it's part of the business, but it's not where the fortune is made. So as long as you're aware of that, it's totally fine. Some people, they just want to share the good news. They just want to let people know about these wonderful products because they've done well for king and country and they're doing good money and they're fine. They just want good products and share with them. And I respect that 100%. The point is to make sure that people are informed and educated on the process. So these are the three different components on when you're looking at the residual income, the bridge income, and the customer income. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and just to add to the customer income, on social media, as all of us know, since everything's been going on in the last couple of years, more and more people are online. More and more people want to strengthen their immune system. More and more people are searching for an opportunity based on their situations. And those who are the influencers who are out there regularly posting, doing reels, creating those connections, doing those lives, they're going to build a customer base quicker than going out belly to belly because people are watching and a lot more people are watching. So that could be an increased factor if you're actively on social media. Okay, so that's a point that I wanted to add to this.
By the way, put a 1 in the chat if you have customers. Anybody who has customers, put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Customers are very, very important, folks. So make sure you don't look down on the customer aspect of things because it is the foundation. And but again, it depends on what your goals are. But this is wonderful. Really, really good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Tammy, back to you.
Yes. All right. Why
You
does
can
it
use your
not
keyboard,
go?
right?
I am, but it's not doing anything, so I am going to do it this way. Okay.
Okay. You want me to talk about this one too? I think you want me to talk about the first two
Yeah,
slides.
go. Yeah, do the first three that has to do with the comp plan, and then
Oh, I
I'll.
got you. Okay. So when it comes to understanding the preferred customer income, what happens here as an associate, if you enrolled a customer, what happens is it will contribute to your CV for qualification. For example, let's just say that you're ordering the Salgivity every month. And I forgot the CV, Tammy. I know it's been changing. It's 65 or whatever. Um,
33, I think.
no. For when you actually when you're an associate and you buy the Salgivity, I think it's 65 CV. Anyway, whatever that amount is, it's close to that amount. And what's happening is if you have a customer, the customer will give you 50% of that CV. So, for example, if the Salgivity happens to be 65 CV, okay, as an associate, when you purchase it, if a customer purchases it, what happens is part is given to you in a form of a commission, which you can see here on step number 3, where you get up to 25% from the CV of the product, and half of the CV goes into a personal volume. So, for example, if you have your Salgivity at 65
It's
and you have a
72.
customer 72, okay, so 72 CV, and then you're adding a customer that's 33 CV. So your customer will be added on to your 72. And if you do the math, it's pretty much almost 100 CV. Okay. So the fact is, having customers will contribute towards your qualification to stay active if, let's say, you can't afford 2 products. But we recommend to always have 100 CV personally, because obviously you want to make sure that you qualify for the rest of the bonuses, which is really where the fortune is made. Okay, but I just want you to point this out. So you meet the 50 PV requirements. So what that means is you need to have to be on at least 50 PV to be able to earn the customer commission. So if, let's say, you're in a position where you can't afford and you're getting started, but you still want to get paid, if you have 50 PV, then what's going to happen is you will not earn the residual on the binary and the primes and the matching check, but you will earn the fast start commission and you will earn the customer commission. And when you start earning that, because you have enough customers, then that could basically compensate for you to be able to afford and go further. So these are folks that might be on the grassroots and really trying to kind of build their businesses and trying to keep up. Now, the other thing here is, and so we've covered that the 50% volume from a preferred customer. Okay, so generally it's really straightforward. You get your customer, and half of the point of your customer's order will count towards your personal volume to qualify for your monthly aspect of qualifying for 100 CV. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, and if you're building up quite a bit of volume through preferred customers, I know Chuck and Beth, you have a lot of volumes that you generate monthly.
Oh
That
yeah,
extra volume over, like the company obviously takes the 100 volume because you need to be active on 100 points, and then the rest is carried over to the pay leg, and it's
correct.
banked there as long as you are on 50 points.
Again, just to
So
make sure you understand, is
yeah.
you have a left leg and you have a right leg. If, let's say, one side happens to have, I don't know, 500 CV, okay, and the other side has 300 CV, what's going to happen is whatever you have in customers that's over 100 CV, because that's all it needs for you to qualify for your auto-ship, for your payout. The remaining, let's say you have, I don't know, 500 customers. Like I have right now in personal customers, something like 3,000 CV, right? From all sort of things that associates, whatever, on personal. So that's what shows. So what's happening is the difference. So let's say you had 300 CV. So 200 CV will be going into the smaller side. So if let's say you had 300 CV and you have a 2 surplus from your customers, it'll be filtered into the smaller leg that will increase the volume. Okay, which is a really, really cool add-on, because sometimes it could be just that little block of different of CV for you to qualify, for example, to get your bronze or whatever, to get your next level. So let's move on to the next slide, Tammy. So
all right. So
yeah.
we'll talk about the benefits of a customer. So Chris basically went through it, but just so we're clear, so you earn up to 25% commissions. And the cosmetic line is less than the nutritionals, so that will vary. And then it increases your personal volume when you add on customers. That's another benefit. And of course, impacting people's health, which is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And just so you know that the way Chris and I have built, and the reason we do it like this is because we've already had experience for many years. For example, when I was new in the industry, I had a package, I wanted to move my products, I wanted to build customers because that's what I knew. And I came from the retail business, owning my own business. So I didn't really understand the concept of network marketing at the time. But then I would go to meetings and there would be people on stage and they just did that and they just did that. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what are they doing that I'm not doing, because my income isn't increasing like that? So I got in with them and I said, well, how are you doing this? And then I started to learn how to build a network. And so because of that experience years ago, for us, we build our business with a customer in mind as a default. In other words, we're leading with the business, but you have to be comfortable how you lead your business. So we led with the business, and when people weren't open, we could feel the temperature. Just by asking people questions, you can feel the temperature, and you just step back a bit and encourage them to try the products. Or they'll say, you know what, that sounds really interesting. I get this all the time. That sounds really interesting, Tammy, but I'd really like to get to know the products more and to see what the products are going to do for me. I said, great, let's get you started. And I zipped it and I got them in as a customer. Okay, so these are some of our strategies on how we build this. So how to get a customer started right. And I wanted to talk to everybody about this because I'm sure that there's some people that are not doing it this way. And this is what has enabled us to be able to move people to become an associate. Okay, so once you have somebody who wants to try the product, don't continue selling them, you guys. You gotta get their information or send them a link to buy the product, however way you're doing it, and get them registered as a customer. Once they're registered, then you ask them to text you the moment they receive the product, because I want to make sure that you get the best result. And that's what I say to them. I want to make sure you get the best result. And the moment they text me, I go to number 2. As you can see, first of all, I like to ask people how they like to receive information, because not everybody wants an email. Honestly, I hardly even look at my emails. Now I have different platforms that I respond really fast to, and emails is just not one of them, unless somebody tells me they're going to email me something. And if I say yes, and I'm okay with it. So you can ask them how they want to receive this PDF document, which is the 90-day challenge. And I'm going to show you on the next slide the document. It's a 2-page document I'm sure most of you already know what it is, but that's how I follow my customers to get them the best results. This is really important. This is the relationship part of me moving them to the next step, knowing that I'm in business and that there's a business potential because they already know that. And I want to make sure they get the best results. Okay, so number 3, really important. And you can't miss out on these because you're going to end up with people that are not going to respond. They're going to ghost you. But you let them know once you send them the sheet, and I'm going to tell you what to do to guide them on that sheet on the next slide. At that conversation, you book the follow-up time on the 3rd day. Okay? You book that follow-up day on the 3rd day. This is your business. You need to control your business and your scheduling. The moment you leave this into your prospects' hands, you're going to have a hard time chasing people. And that's even if you catch them. Yeah. I mean, very often people are just so busy. They're gone. They're on the move. They've moved on. Right? So especially if they might have had a detox, right away people will panic. So you book that call the 3rd day and you let them know to write down the experiences they're getting on the product and if they had any questions. And let's handle that on the 3rd day. So of course, I'm just checking in, Jane, just following up, see how you're doing on your 3rd day. And she may turn around and say, oh my gosh, I'm really bad. I'm not taking this stuff consistently. See, you have to follow up. Or they may say, oh my gosh, the first day I had such a big headache. And I'd be like, great. And they people are shocked when you say that. That means you've got some immediate toxins that want out of your body. Are you drinking plenty of water? You just guide them through the process to continue. And I'd say if you're really, really uncomfortable, Jane, here's what I recommend. For the next 2 days, just take one product, one capsule. Just for the next 2 days, just take one. And then you can increase it to 2. So I walk them through so that they're more comfortable going through a detox because everybody's different. And at the beginning, don't talk about detox. Because if you do, you might scare them from even purchasing the product. Don't talk about that, okay? When you give them the sheet and they purchase the product, then you go through the process so you can walk them through it. Because you don't know how much toxicity they have in their body. You don't know if they're going to detox right away or not. So there's no sense putting that in their mind. Okay?
And the reality also is many people will never go through a detox, and you're creating fear that on something that may never happen.
Exactly.
False evidence appearing real. The word fear, it's very common. So
yeah.
I recommend you get into it if there's questions or concerns or something's going on, so you can educate them.
Yeah. So on that 3rd day, if they said, they mentioned they got headaches, I said, great. And I said, just so you know, Jane, I had the same experience. I didn't get it on the 1st day, but I noticed after a week because I had so much energy. When I went to the gym, I was doing more. And I guess I was, bringing up the free radicals that the glutathione was scrubbing out of my body. And I just drank plenty of water and then it just went away. So you just kind of tell your story. So then in this conversation, you get to know them a little bit more. If you don't know a lot about them up to that point, this is your opportunity to get to know them a little bit more. So you can ask something like, Jane, I never asked you, what do you do for a living, by the way? This is ways that you could make a connection with them.
It's the process of initiating the steps of the conversion, where Tammy is building the example. She's building the relationship, getting them to know her, for her to get to know them, and in the same time to get a better understanding of what they desire and building confidence on the product itself. This is all part of the process because we're dealing in a virtual world right now. Very often you will initiate the contact with a stranger to the customer process. That's why this is important in the follow-up process. If you give someone a bottle and you walk away and you forget all about it, you will never grow in this business. So the thing is, we want to help you treat your business professionally like professionals. So if you buy a course into any kind of program, you will find that you will receive a phone call from the salesperson welcoming you. Make sure you have any question, making sure you're well oriented, you know where everything is. Well, same thing, treat your Max business in the same way. Make sure that you educate them on the product, the process, the detox if that occurs, questions, have the information available. You know, we have a team website, which, by the way, next Friday, you're probably seeing a few drips of some promos going on online. We're going to be launching our updated, revised website. I hope you'll be able to attend. And there's going to be a library, a dictionary of information for you to tap into. It'll be very easy for you to access. So let's move on, Tammy, as we
yeah, so this will be part of the training platform. So and then you want, if at this point, you guys, sometimes at this point on the third day, they're like, wow, this stuff is really amazing. I can't believe how I feel, blah, 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 blah. And I would say something like, I know, you got to get engaged with people. And then I would say, do you know anybody who wants to feel like that in 3 days? Is there anybody that you would like to share this with? As I mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity not only for you to get your products for free, but you can make a difference in their lives as well. And I can show you that if you're open. And then I stay quiet. And they may say, well, I want to take the rest of the week's worth of products or a month's worth of products or whatever, but you stay in the process of the conversation every time you follow up. Okay, and this is your relationship building process. You need to be patient with the process, because once they're engaged, they go from customer, the relationship that you're building, by the time they become an associate, they're in. They're not going to be ghosting you, so they're in because of the whole thing. The fact that you supported them, you cared about them, you nurtured them along the whole process. This is extremely important. If you're going to build it this way, this is important. And then, of course, follow up, follow through. We always say that to you guys, follow up, follow through. Every time you follow up, follow through, you should have something new about them or about the experience that you can add to your notes of your follow-up process. So if you're not taking notes, that's not good. You don't want to go back and say, oh, by the way, you mentioned you were working for, I forget the name of the company. It's good that you know things about them and you come back because they feel important. I know I have to work on it all the time, and I know we all have to work on it all the time, but that is what gets the points for them to be partners with you. So this is a sheet that we use, and it's available. It's always been available on the Active Team site, and you can either double side it or do 2 copies. I say double side and print it up. You can do that, or you can send it to somebody online. I think everybody does a lot of stuff online and forward stuff online, but there are people still today that like to print a bunch of stuff up. And so here's what I do with my person. So the moment they text me to say they received the product, I set up a call. I get the call going, and then I send them the sheet, and I say, right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, check mark on every single category in the health evaluation before you start the product. And then after the week's finished, you want to check it again to see what the difference is in the week. If they're on a month's product, then week 2, week 3, week 4, because I want to make sure you recognize the results that you're getting, Because if I don't do this, you guys, I just want to tell you what happens. I talk to busy people and they say, oh my gosh, I don't know if it was this or I just don't know. I know I got some energy, but if you give them a sheet and a guidance and direction, they're already setting their mindset to get the results on these categories. And they'll pay attention to the results that they're getting. I find I get so much better results when I apply this. So I hope this helps for all of you, and definitely use this. And then that's where you can say on the second page, there's some information about detoxing. You may or may not, but it gives you some guidance of some of the first things that you might recognize if you are detoxing, which is such a good thing. Because if you're detoxing right away, that means you got a lot of surface toxins that needs to come out of the body, and you just need to drink plenty of water. So again, it's relationship building, walking them through the process before they get started. All right. So how to convert customers into associates. That's where our whole focus was tonight. We just wanted to walk you through the process of getting the results. Chris, did you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, so basically one of the things that I want to point out here, and thank you for all the thumbs up and the hearts from the Facebook Live guys, you're awesome. What's going on is what Tammy was sharing, it's not a waste of time. It's the process of building that relationship and securing your relationship with them and educating them and building their confidence and trust. Because without that process, it'll be difficult for you to convert a customer to an associate unless they completely understand what's going on. There's some people that you just put them in front of a piano and they just know how to play. There's some people like that. But the majority of us, we need to worm ourselves into it. So how to convert a customer to an associate, if you move on to the next slide. What's very important is education brings value. And that's what the whole point is all about. And so what we're going to be sharing right now is now we're going to be converting to start educating them. For example, yesterday I did a presentation for Olga and one of her associates who had two guests. And they were very athletic oriented, interested in the product itself. I didn't really know if there was a lot of interest on the opportunity, but what I wanted to do is appeal to what I know they would be expecting to see and to hear. But in the process, there was some mention on the fact that it is a network marketing company. There is an income that could be quite significant, but I didn't elaborate on that. I just left it very on the surface so they understand what it's all about, so they're aware. Because I'm telling you, there are some that will want to become an associate, especially today's economy when gasoline is almost $2 in Ontario. It's blowing my mind. But you see, what's going on is it is what it is, right? It's just the chaos that we're living into right now, sort of from the pandemic, and then the inflation, and then the war, and then what else is coming? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing is I'm not going to depend on them and on that scenario to be able to move forward. It's so unfortunate that all of these things are happening, but you can't become dependent on the system. And the fact here is what we want to do is we want to give people options, opportunities, so they can feed their families. And now folks, you got to remember, we're not in 2019 where people thought that network marketing is illegal, because now network marketing is the only option that might be available to most people to be able to earn an income, and a decent income, with a legitimate company that's been around for 15 years. So that's why if you have that kind of posture, starting with the understanding of their level of interest and confidence as a customer, I'm telling you, every single one can be converted. But remember, there are some that have done well financially. They're very wealthy. They don't need the money, but their health may not be at par. But they may know people. They may not be interested in the opportunity, but they're influencers and they may know other influencers that might be interested. So that's why you never want to undermine the possibilities that this opportunity brings on board. So let's get into the next slide, Tammy, and kind of cover some of the benefits.
Yeah. And I just want to add something else too. You don't want to hide if you're building on social media. Don't be a hider. A lot of people hide behind written stuff, and that is not how you're going to build relationship. You got to pull people off the platform. I can't stress that enough. I've been talking a lot about it, and you can easily make a new Facebook friend or connection through LinkedIn or whatever, because I've done it many times, whatever the platform, and you can have a Zoom coffee chat and be prepared because you might be showing something to them because you never know. And in the process of getting to know each other, you can, talk a little bit about your story and find out a little bit about them, how they're doing in the last couple years and get to know them. They're going to give you a lot of triggers on you being able to share what you have with them. Okay, so make sure that you do that. And when you get on Zoom with somebody, you're building relationships. You can see each other. You can read each other's body language. You're really connecting. I mean, that's the best way to connect. Even FaceTime. I've done it on FaceTime where people didn't know how to do Zoom. And I connected so much better than back when we used to do phone calls. So get uncomfortable if you're not doing Zooms. Get your free Zoom account and start getting people off the platform and invite them to a Zoom session with you. And you'd be surprised the new results that you're going to see with all of this. And so people buy you first. That is the big message. And when they can see you, don't you think it's so much easier to connect? Like, I picked this picture because see how immersed people are into this woman's communication, how she was sharing the information. They were just so engaged in the process. And that's what you want to do when you connect with people on a Zoom coffee chat or however way you're connecting, FaceTime, is to really capture them by bringing value, giving them what they're looking for. Because I'm telling you, once they open their mouth, they start telling you their stuff, you can easily bring value to them. Easily. No question. So associate benefits. So we wanted to share the benefits also as an associate because we shared earlier the benefits of a customer. And of course, there's so much more benefits as an associate. And you can share benefits as you start building relationship with your customers that are now considering. Now you can start saying, some of the things that they would benefit from. And you can do that even in the whole process. By the third day, there's so many things you can benefit from. For example, getting your products for free. Would you like to learn how to get your products for free? That is an eye catcher for everybody, by the way. How would you like to earn income to pay for your products? Everybody wants to find out how they can get their products free. Okay, so that's how you can get them engaged more to be able to share some of the compensation plan or get on a Zoom and do it with them. So you're walking through the process and you're answering questions, and then you can easily bring them to your website, show them the different packages. Bam, they're in. This is what we've been doing for so long. For us, it's a no-brainer, we say, because we've been doing it all the time. It's because we are actively doing it. And when you actively do it, you learn a whole lot more than learning from a training session. You can sit and listen all you want to any of these trainings, but if you don't go out and apply the trainings, then you're not going to be any further ahead in 2 months from now, in 6 months from now, and a year from now, even more. And some of you know what I'm talking about. So give them benefits. People want benefits. Earn an unlimited income. What does that mean? You know, so you can tell them. You can start using stories now and, you know, leverage your leadership. Here's what happened to them. They were $120,000 in debt. Today, they're at their second home in Florida, living half a year. Oh, they traveling the world, bringing these products to people, you know, teaching people how to build businesses globally. Like, you could start telling stories through the process as well. Potential to build globally. That is huge. To be in your pajama bottom from the bottom down and have whatever, you know, and here you are in business globally. So, and of course, impacting people's health and you know, helping people build a legacy for their families. So that is huge. People are not building legacies with a job. They're just going to work, getting a paycheck. By the end of their you know, their salary, there's nothing left, and they're struggling. A lot of people are struggling, and they're worried about, you know, not having. I don't know if you see me playing around here trying to get that circle on, but they're worried about not knowing what the next thing is, right? So sorry about that. I'm not used to doing Canva. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So Chris, you want to do this slide?
Yeah, of course, of course. And this is something that's important that I share a lot to someone that may not have an interest in network marketing, that tells me, you know, I don't really do whatever the excuse is. For me, it's always, the answer is education. Whatever the excuse is, generally education will solve the objection. And one of the things that I use a lot is, what are the biggest, in fact, let me reframe to the presentation that we do on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, right? Bill and Linda are doing Tuesday, Mireille and Jasmine are doing Wednesdays, and Thursdays, myself and Tammy are doing it. And it's by the way, we're going to start varying presenters, but the point here is, if you recall, at one point, when we are about to get into the business, we talked about some of the biggest companies in the world today, what they all have in common. Now, I'd like for you to type that in the chat, because I know those of you that have been following the presentation, you know the answer to that one. What all the biggest companies in the world today have in common? What's the one word that comes to mind? Type it in. Don't be a tourist. Put the word in. That's it. Internet. You got it. So the fact here is, the richest people in the world, what they do is they look for and how to build networks. That's the reason why Amazon right now is one of the biggest company in the world. In fact, I believe it's the biggest, richest company in the world. And what do? They don't really, well, when I say they don't own anything, they do own a lot. What I mean is that what they sell online, they don't own, if you understand what I mean. There are people tapping into that network, selling. When you talk about Uber, what they all have in common, what do? They don't really own anything other than the app. Now, of course, they have assets and what I'm talking about is, it's an app. It's $1 billion app, and they connect drivers to to people who need the rides. And this is the future. What does Max International do? We connect the end-line consumer to a company by providing probably one of the most important nutraceutical product that exists in the world, especially when it comes to immune systems. What are the most compromising challenges we're facing? It's the immune system is being compromised. So what's happening here is that the richest people in the world, they look for networks, they build networks, and the rest of the world looks for jobs. Would you agree with me that everybody else that are chasing jobs are the ones dealing with the financial crisis? And I'm not saying if you're self-employed, what I'm trying to tell you here is the people that are with the trends of the future, they're the one that's going to be in business and remain in business and keep earning an income, while the rest of the folks are going to be starving and chasing. And the answer is it's staring right at the face. It's a choice, really, but they choose to ignore it because whatever feeling they may have about it. That for me is education. We need to educate the public. That's what we're doing this evening on this training. So in the process of the customer, as they're consuming and building the rapport and sharing and building the relationship, you are educating them on the fact that we are a network, a company. We're not salespeople, as some amateur may think. We are a distribution network. We build network. The reason why Tammy and I can live in Florida during the winter, it's not because we're great salespeople, because we'd be starving if that would be our approach. We build networks. That's what we do. And when you instill that in the mind of people, it makes sense. And then that's when the interest is growing into it. And so at the end of the day,
we solve problems and we bring solutions. That's what we do in our business.
This is the approach. That's the approach that you want to utilize as a logical approach with common sense. And you will find often that a customer may turn around because they have a product experience. They may choose to say, well, let me go further with this. But it doesn't mean that until they're a customer, they're not going to want to become an associate. Do be careful with this logic. I'm just giving you a scenario based on the fact that most of us are doing business online with strangers, and there will be obviously an approach that may start with a more less intrusive approach, with them making a purchase of one product, and then you staying in touch with them and so forth, as Temi alluded earlier. So back to you, Temi.
Yeah, and belief is critical. As you can see on the bottom, believe in the network marketing profession. That will come across when you're connecting with people. You have to have a strong belief in our profession and the possibilities. Even if you're not there yet, you know the possibilities because you're seeing the people around that are doing the work and getting the results. On the CD Global Diamond Group, you know plenty of diamonds, double diamonds, triple diamonds, crown diamonds. They're out there, so it's possible. Those are the ones that are creating the trails. They're the ones that are out there making it happen, and people are following. And in the process, you're going to build your belief around the profession. And of course, you want to believe that you can be successful. And that's the most important thing. You need to believe that it's possible for you. And when you believe that, and you know that we have a product that can make a huge difference in people's lives, that's the spine of everything that we do in our business. So we solve problems and we bring solutions to them. And that's what we do. You really got to understand this process. When you make it about that, you'll do whatever it takes to make an impact.
So let's get to the next slide, Tammy.
Yeah, so it's time for all of us to attract more customers and more associates. Chris and I are actively doing this regularly, just so you know.
And by the way, when you see me looking on the side here, I'm not being distracted. I'm interacting with our online Facebook Live folks. And thank you for participating. They're answering the questions. I wanted to acknowledge their answers as I'm doing here on Zoom. So right now, what we want to do is just, okay, there's a promotion that's going on for the month of March. Okay. And as you know, recently also, Max I just released a video segment that Alan Sickman, Mike and Lynn, and Tammy and I did, and Ann Bushel did, which they're sharing a few segments from their point of views on certain topics. I do recommend to go back and listen to it. Or you can also go to activeteamtraining.com to listen to our segment. There's two versions. One is without the promo, the other one is with the promo, but it's the same information, is to build the bronze through the 631, okay? And building the rank, building your rank position. So I recommend you follow that, because if you follow the steps, especially if you're a brand new person, if you're listening to this and you happen to be a brand new person, or you've been in a company for 20 years, well, okay, 10 years, 15 years, whatever, and maybe you haven't got the results you're looking for, well, let's say that tomorrow's day one, and then you choose in the day of the week of excuse me, the month of March, you're going to turn around and apply 100% of your effort and concentrate efforts in the month of March with this promotion. As you know, we have this 631 where if you sponsor 6 people, three on your left and 3 on your right, then what happens is the company will add $100 of commission. So what happens here is that if you don't mind putting the cursor on the enroll 3 new associates, with a minimum of 100 CV, the company will add $25. So you'll have your fast start commission, okay? And of course, it doesn't have to be 100 CV, it could be more, but that's the minimum. And if you turn around and he says, I'm going to push a little more, and you get 3 more. I know some of you have already sponsored 3, and we're in the 7th of the month here, right? So you have plenty of time. So you get another 3, and boom, you get another $75. That's just $100 added on to your fast start commission. So that's stage one, stage one is really one on the left, one on the right. Stage 2 is to get basically your 3 and 3, your 6 associates. When you do that, you take advantage of this cash. Okay. Now, also, the company recognized that some people love to build a customer base, which is totally fine, especially as I explained for the reason today, doing the business online, as an approach. Well, the fact is if you enroll 4 preferred customers with a minimum of 50 CV, not 100, but 50 CV, you earn $25. This is crazy money, folks. I don't know if you realize, but when you multiply that by tens of thousands, that's a lot of money the company's putting out. Okay. So, and of course, if you enroll 8 new associate, then again, for a total of 8 new, customers, I have such associate in my head. So what happens here is you'll have another $75. So that's $100 for bringing 8 customers. And if you build this business correctly and you're doing the activities, to get 8 customers is not that hard. It's hard for the person who's maybe an introvert that's afraid to talk to people. But at the end of the day, knowing what we have, it's not that hard. And then you're sharing this, you're doing your social media, you're putting your links. And by the way, I know we had some trainings on that. I recommend you go back to the Go for Diamond Call and previous trainings. You go to Active Team Training, select Go for Diamond Calls, and just select the one that we're talking about, how to generate the link generator that Max has. You go to max.com, don't log in your back office, just go to max.com, select any of the products, and then from there, click the link generator, and then it will prompt you for your ID number based on the product you choose. You cut and paste that link, and you put it wherever you want to put it. If you're doing some social media promotions, you put that link there. I'm not going to talk about the training on how to do that, but the point here is you can direct people right away to go and buy the product, right? Give you an example. Tammy and I have been doing a lot of social media videos, especially on the training, if those of you have been following some of the things we're doing. And the reason why I'm doing this is because we're trying to build a credibility because, for example, the Chris and Tammy platform, we had 0. Now we're 450 people or 30 people, whatever, so that are following us. And also we have all these track records of these videos for the past, 10 weeks that we started this thing, since January, actually. And what's happening now, like yesterday, on Sunday, I posted one that we did on Friday because I forgot to post it. And we have 1,700 views in one day. How in the heck did that happen? I truly don't know. Because the one that we did before is 62 times. So I know there's some equation that Instagram does, and they do something, and we end up going into the middle of a wave that just propelled us somewhere. I don't know the details there yet. I'm going to figure this out, I assure you. But the point is 1,700 people. Why is this happening now? It's because we do have a track record, and people are recognizing, and they're used to see us. And then when we start talking about, you probably saw that there was one video that we shared that we're preparing ourselves for the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's the one, right? 1,700 views. So what happens is I started and I put, to access our link, which will redirect us to our funnel, to get more information from us. My point here is there's so many pieces of knowledge of information to help you build your business if you just attend on a regular basis. And I know that most of you here are doing that, and congratulations for doing this. But don't be afraid to go and ask for the sale. Don't be afraid. And in fact, if you don't, people won't take you seriously. And these promotions are absolutely phenomenal. You get 3, you get compensated. You get 6, you get compensated when it talks about the associates. When it comes to the customers, you get 4, you get compensated. You get 8, you get compensated a bit more. And remember, the real income aspect of this is the residual aspect that will happen. And even better than that, if this is being duplicated within your organization and people are starting to reach their core rank by getting to their bronze, by following the things that you've done, that's when you're going to start building fortune with Max International. You want to make 30 grand a month in Max International? These are the techniques. And I'm not exaggerating. So back to you, Tammy, as we end.
Yeah, so that's the training. So we are excited to be part of the March Madness. We've been so busy in the background doing our own prospecting, honestly, setting up Zoom appointments. I know last week I put out an assignment to see if anybody was going to do some Zoom, pull people into a Zoom session so that you can, finish your presentation. I don't know if you qualified them to look at the opportunity, or you're just pulling them off the platform of social media to just have a coffee chat. If you have, it'd be great to hear some of your stories. So we do have a couple minutes left.
100%.
Who wants to share?
So at this point, if you have any questions or comments, folks, let us know. There's a few minutes before we end this call. And I hope that the information we share with you was helpful and insightful, because honestly, there's no magic wand to all of this. There's no magic trick. It's all about the relationship and consistency and the congruency of being consistent on doing those steps. And that's where the fortune occurs. Okay. Tammy, is there anything else that you want to add as we end this?
Nope, that's perfect.
Okay. So everybody, thank you very much for attending. And I actually, again, wanted to remind you that this coming Friday, we are getting ready to launch our brand new webinar, our brand new updated website. And Marcel is our virtual assistant that reside in Germany. And we also have a wonderful virtual assistant in the Philippines. So we have both. They have different functionality that they do. And Marcel is going to be doing the actual training portion to walk everybody through the website. So stay tuned for the posts and the campaigns that are going on there. And it'll be on the Active Team webinar. And the time will be promoted this week. So you'll be all aware of the details. Okay. So looking forward to share with all of you, and thank you for attending. And I hope that we've been able to help you guys this evening. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.